It's time to go beyond Plus Ultra for another Boku no Hero Academia review.
Sorry, I was seeing Beyond Plus Ultra, and I couldn't tell what was beyond that.
Yes, what is Beyond Plus Ultra?
And then what's even further beyond that? You know, like, look, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead, pull out my Sword of Omens, all right, gonna get my Sight Beyond Sight going on here, right? And then I'm gonna be like, show me Sight Beyond Sight, show me Beyond Plus Ultra, and then beyond that. And I'm lost. I don't know what is beyond it. It's just a blank thing. Maybe this sword's broken. I don't know.
That could have really used a season 2.
It's still a good... Look, 2011 Thundercats is fucking good, and why it never got a second season is beyond me.
Go watch that review on Brandon's Discuss Anime.
Fuck it, go watch the show. Ignore our review. Watch the show first, then watch our review. The show's really fucking good, and it's worth your time.
Just like this episode. This episode was really, really good.
A lot of it is just we going in, and then, oh fuck, shit went wrong.
I really did like the, size manipulation quirk mixed with the... It's not quite anti-gravity quirk. What's...
Telekinesis.
Thank you. So, like, she's using telekinesis mixed with the size quirk, making them...
See, after we got off last time, I immediately thought of that, like, the next day. And I'm like, shit. She could shrink that, let the other chick throw it around with her telekinesis, because now it's smaller and weighs less, and then increase the size as they're about to impact. I didn't think, because I didn't realize he could do this, that the double impact would be able to be triggered remotely like that. That's something I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't realize he could decide how long it took before that triggered, which just caused so much chaos in that fight.
Yeah. And Monoma was Monoma.
And useless. From what I can tell, he hasn't done shit yet.
But didn't he steal the telekinesis, too?
Not really. I mean, I guess he was throwing some of his grape orbs at it to catch them as they came at him.
No. Monoma, the...
Oh, right. Minoru and Monoma, of course, because they have such similar names, right? Oh, you're talking about Mr. Phantom Thief. Got it.
Yeah. He was using the telekinesis to make the nuts and bolts fly around.
Yeah, and using them to carry him, which I'm kind of surprised works. Because I would think that if it's carrying something else, it would then weigh more than it would be able to, like, levitate.
Physics? What's that?
Yeah, I'm just assuming that's how that would work. But apparently not. It only applies to the objects affected, not what's on top of them, which means that quirk is way more useful than I would have expected if it works that way. Because you could lift all sorts of heavy shit just by, like, using certain parts in lifting.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'll tap each of these tires, because it's not the total weight, it's the weight of a single object. I'll just touch each of these tires, and then we'll levitate the car off the dead person. Done! Like... That makes that quirk, if it does ignore physics like that, ridiculous. It makes it completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I do like the talk between Shinzo and Minoru, where Minoru's like, don't your childhood dreams just weigh you down, man? Like, you realize that you're not, like... He kind of talks in the same vein of, like, our quirk is not good enough to be heroes, right? At least I disagree with both of them. Like, those two quirks for each of them, they are perfectly good to be heroes with those quirks. Right?
Exactly.
Like, there are clearly other characters in here that are way better as sidekicks and not full-blown heroes. Like, they work better off of somebody else than they do on their own. But both Minoru and Shinzo could totally work as they on their own if they needed to. Especially if Shinzo can disguise himself, right? Like, if Shinzo disguises himself and just walks in a crowd, he could totally get someone to, like, answer him in, like, a random fight. He just has to have an ambush. That's all.
Yeah.
or pretend to be a civilian and get caught. And when the villain reacts, oh, brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, like we've seen with Minoru, he can copy up to 4 separate quirks. Granted, he can't use them at the exact same time, but as far as I can tell, he can swap between them seamlessly.
Monoma.
Is it Monoma or Mono... whatever.
Naito Monoma. Monoma.
I'm sorry, man. Minoru, Monoma, it's literally the same syllables except for like 2 letters.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking about Minoru, I was looking around and I forget if this was Twitter, Facebook, or just like some random other site, but he's not wearing a diaper. He is wearing a bowl. He is a bowl of grapes.
I mean, I kind of assumed it wasn't a diaper just because of how weirdly shaped it was. But I mean, that's still a really bad costume idea. Like, he could have gone for something way better than grapes.
But his sticky balls are very grape-like.
What grapes are sticky?
I don't know.
Like, unless they got juice on them, like they're leaking. Which kind of puts a whole other spin on what the fuck makes his hair sticky.
And then Deku's power gets crazy, and then I get all the points.
Do you, though?
Hey, I at least get half credit points at
Fine, half.
75%.
Oh, whoa. I think you're getting a little big for your britches here, boy. You said yourself half. I'm agreeing with half.
I think I deserve full points, but
Here we go again.
But you'll never accept me being right.
Explain how you were right.
I forget. I should have written down my. I should have written it down so I could pull it up and say, "This is what I said."
Here's what you need to do. You need to have the recording on hand and be like, "Here's the evidence. I was correct."
I said something along the lines. I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing.
But I said something along the lines of that Deku will use the previous quirks of the One For All users because like their quirks are stored in All For One.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, One For All.
So here's the interesting bit I did see coming. Apparently, it's resonating with All For One in prison. It feels like it's implied that he's hearing his little brother say shit to Deku.
And is this what you were spoiled on?
Yes, it was.
So last week, what was your reaction when I was almost accurately guessing that scene?
I'm like, did I give him a hint somewhere, or is he actually getting this out of his ass?
I just reached so far up my ass and just pulled this out.
Reached so far up his ass, it came out his mouth, and then he grabbed something and pulled it back all the way through. That's a very disturbing image, and I apologize for anyone who has imagined it, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
The human body is hollow.
It's just one big tube.
But yes, finally I get points.
There was a reason I like when you kept saying that. I'm like, I don't know. Are you sure there's some things here that don't make sense? Which they don't, but like I'm trying to figure out like all the holes I can poke in the theory just so I can try to throw you off to make you second guess yourself.
But I am so happy.
You still don't get full points.
75% points.
You said half the first time. We're sticking with half.
Fuck you, dude.
Hey, look, that was your gut instinct, and I said, okay. Maybe if you had said full points, I'd have agreed with that first.
Damn it. Damn it. In my mind, I have full points.
Oh, man, yes, it starts going out of control. Did he ever say what his quirk was?
I think it was
Black Whip or something, right?
either back whip or black whip.
Black Whip, I think, is what it was. So Shinzo gets Deku to answer him after Uraraka is, like, clutching him like a crazy person. Because somehow she's going to help. I don't know how.
The power of love will save him.
I don't know. I don't know if it's love, man. She seems very flustered about even the idea.
But come on,
Like,
there's at least something between them.
I'm not sure. Because, I mean, more often than not, it's her losing her composure than it is Deku at this point. Because Deku loses his composure about most women. Just to remember May and the boobs on his head at one point. After an explosion.
Oh!
But, yeah, no, she's, like, clutching him as the Black Whip is flying like crazy out of his arms, like weird lightning spikes almost. Throwing him around like a rag doll as he's screaming at everyone nearby to, like, get the fuck out and run. So yeah, as he's getting clutched by Uraraka, who I do like that in the back of her head, like in the flashback we get with her, and the idea of heroes making everyone happy, even those like her parents who were so overworked. That being what she wanted to strive for. And then after seeing Deku thinking, shit, if the heroes help everyone else, who helps the heroes?
Other heroes?
Well, that's the other thing, because she yells at Shinzo to help brainwash him to get him under control, right? And my thought is, oh shit, Shinzo could be just as good as Aizawa at just straight up shutting down quirks. And my second thought on that was like, would brainwashing even work? Because Deku's not in control of this right now, at all. All it might do is just shut down Deku himself, and the quirk's still going nuts. Obviously, that's not what happened, but it was a thought in my head when I'm like, I don't know if brainwashing is even going to work on this. Like, Aizawa would have shut down the quirk completely, which would have made perfect sense. In the case of brainwashing, I wasn't sure. It seemed a little bit of a toss-up in my head as to how that would play out.
So, do you know the other 5 quirks Deku has yet to tap into?
You only know one other one, and it's the one you and I discussed last time.
The floating.
Yes, the floating quirk.
Okay.
I do not know what the others are. Although, with that said, right, there are 8 previous owners of All for One, or One for All. There are 6 people that have quirks in there, which means someone doesn't have a quirk, and I'm going to assume that includes the original not being a quirk. That would be transferable. Or, that's been held in there because it is the core.
I thought All Might didn't have a quirk.
See, I don't know about that for sure, because as far as we're aware, that body thing that he's got going on, where he went from like scrawny to bulk, is something that is very strange to me. Now, granted, in my head at least, to me that could be a quirk. Not one that he would have realized was one until he got All for One. But even then, All Might isn't fully formed inside the quirk itself right now, from what it looks like. He still just kind of shreds from that visual we got. So it could be him.
So All Might's muscle form might be a quirk?
It could be. I think there's an argument to be made until he actually explains himself how he was able to do that. That there's a chance it could be a quirk. Like, something he didn't realize he had until All for One was given to him, and he just assumed it was part of the quirk. But he never really explained what his muscle form was. The other explanation I can think of is that it's just to conserve more energy for One for All by, like, degrading his muscles down to that of a pipsqueak, basically.
Okay. So Deku, even though we assume he's quirkless, he might have some latent quirk that One for All for One. No, shit.
You were right the first time.
Yeah, that One for All will draw out before the series is over.
It would not surprise me if he's had a latent quirk that just never developed, or was so insubstantial he never noticed it existed. Because it's been told to us before that if someone that already has a quirk gets All for One, or One for All, let's see, I'm doing it now, gets One for All, it increases the strength of that quirk, on top of getting the whole power thing.
And since I edit these, I have noticed we do mix up One for All and All for One now and then.
It's literally just a flip-flop of the same words.
Yeah.
It's stolen from the Three Musketeers. We're not French.
Seriously?
So yeah. What?
I thought the Three Musketeers were French.
I said you and I aren't French.
Oh. Okay.
Trying to think. Right. So the next thing that happens is what? He gets brainwashed and goes into his own little mental scape with One for All people that are in there, and learns from the dude who owns Black Whip, which is the one that's going crazy. And he essentially tells him what? That, like, you thought you wanted to catch this guy, and the quirk best suited that One for All has is my quirk, Black Whip. Thus, it drew up Black Whip and starts throwing it at everything. But because Deku's, I guess, emotions weren't in control, the quirk went crazy. Like, whatever Monoma was telling him at the time got to him, and it influenced the quirk and went crazy.
So the only reason why the ability to use other quirks didn't manifest in All Might and Nana was the time wasn't right?
That's got to be my assumption, that the timing wasn't correct. Whether One for All is somehow it understands the outside world, like, while it's inhabiting someone, or if it's because there wasn't enough power stored yet. Like, to at least some degree, there is a consciousness in there, as we've seen with the one guy coming out with Black Whip. We also see at the end of that he's getting absorbed into Deku, which is interesting, which kind of makes me think that, like, with that happening, he'll have full control of that quirk. But my other thought is he going to have to relearn it the same way he was learning One for All originally, where he's going to have to take baby steps again to learn how to use it. Or, and this is where Deku's, like, personality kicks in, could he use his notes on other heroes with similar quirks to learn from it and just speed up his learning curve on that?
I'm not too sure if he's back to square one, because
not with all One for All itself, but with Black Whip specifically.
I'm not saying no, because there were scenes in the trailer where he was attempting to use Black Whip again.
Yes, he was attempting to use it, and my brain is trying to tell me, is he using his knowledge base of other heroes that he already has with similar quirks to just speed up his learning curve on it? Or is he still trying to take it, like, slow and learn as he's going? Because right now he's throwing it out in the middle of a fight for more or less the first time.
This is going to be interesting.
Also, apparently those guys only have a certain time limit before they get absorbed into Deku, is what it sounded like. Because he starts talking about how his time's almost up. So that makes me wonder how All Might's side is going to do that. Plus, here's the other interesting bit. When we were seeing the preview of people that are inside of All for One, there were still 2 that were shadows. When he was talking about, like, getting 6 quirks yet to learn.
What does that mean?
I don't know. There's still two that are in the dark that we have no idea who they are or what they look like.
So how many points will I earn on the next episode of Boku no Hero?
0. For what? What did you earn? You didn't earn nothing.
In my mind, I earned 100% of the points.
So, yeah, here's the last little bit. It's real quick. Everybody ends up meeting up with Deku, or at least in Deku's position, and it becomes an all-out brawl, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Class A.
Yeah, but it did seem rather interesting once everybody was just ganging up on everybody else, or attempting to.
I'm curious how it's gonna how it's gonna work. Because at this point, like I said, it's just a brawl. Strategy is just more or less out the window unless it separates again.
So do you think Class A or Class B will win?
I still think Class A has the upper hand here, just based on the people there, and based on what we know about Monoma's ability. Because we know he can't... Actually, here's the question. Now that I'm thinking about it, can he copy Black Whip? Or would he only get all for one for all?
Ooh.
Because Black Whip is inside of one for all, right? Would he get the base of one for all, which is nothing for him? Or would he be able to get Black Whip on its own? That's the question, I think, for Monoma in this case. Anyone else, he can snatch them as soon as he touches them. He can take that.
Well, maybe if he would get one for all, he would be able to do multiple things at once.
You don't think so, because we did discuss this during the spoiler cast from last time. He cannot, even if he gets the quirk, anything that would require storing, in this case energy, does not exist when he copies it. Which is why the question of if he copies one for all, he wouldn't get Black Whip. Because that would require storing it. And he doesn't have that. He would get the core, I think.
But how would that improve his stealing ability?
See, it wouldn't. That's the thing. It doesn't have any energy to improve. I don't think it would.
So I guess that does it for this week?
It seems like it. There's no more strategy. It's just a brawl now. It really comes down to what team has the better advantage. Especially because we don't need a scout anymore because everyone's out in the open.
Yep. Just mark down that I get a bunch of points for once.
What's that I hear? Only half a point? All right, got it. From your own mouth, only half a point.
No, I did not say that.
Yes, you did. We can rewind the tape.
Oh,
You doomed yourself, fool.
I'm the fool.
Muda.
So I guess I'll catch everybody next time, and so will the other Brandon.
Hold all the points. I am the point king.
Wow.
I'll just sit here on my dragon horde of points.
Your throne of points.
My throne made out of points.
Please, sir, may I sit on the point throne?
I'll think of giving you a splinter of a point, peasant.
Oh, at least it's something.
I throw it to you, it stabs you in the hand. It's just painful. My stand, Point Master, gives me all the points.
And there's the JoJo reference.
I thought the Muda from earlier was a plenty good JoJo reference.
I should really hit stop recording.
Never.